Welcome to EnVision Center News. Today's episode is all about Panhandle Health Senior Companions with Director Daniel Perry and Service Provider Coordinator Jackie Carter. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to EnVision Center News. My name is Jackie Carter, and I'm the Service Provider Coordinator for the Community Resource EnVision Center. And today, my special guest is Daniel Perry, the Senior Companions Program Director. Thank you, Daniel. Welcome.
Thank you, Jackie, for having me. It's a great privilege to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today about the Senior Companions Program.
Well, awesome. And I'm thankful that you took the time to come out in the snow. It must have been quite the drive from Hayden Lake today.
It was a little bit of a drive, but all went well. I'm here safe.
Good. And we're hoping you go back the same way.
Yes.
Well, thank you. So, Daniel, I'm first going to ask you some questions about yourself and how you came to be with the Panhandle Health District. And then I'm going to ask you quite a few questions about the Senior Companion Program.
Great.
So here we go. So, Daniel, can you tell us about yourself and what brought you to this area?
I originally came to Idaho to serve in pastoral ministry for a local church congregation back in 2009, and stayed here. I'm now semi-retired from pastoral ministry and serving now with Panhandle Health District as the project director for the Senior Companions Program, which I've been doing for 4 years.
Wow. Well, you are certainly the right person for it. You have the most amazing patience I've ever seen with your volunteers. Well, I admire that about you.
That's very kind of you to say, Jackie. I think it comes from all those years, 35 years in pastoral ministry. And I have a heart and a passion for seniors and for senior veterans.
Wow. Well, thank you for doing that. This is so needed in this area and every area.
My privilege.
So you're the Senior Companions Program Project Director. So what led you to work for Panhandle Health District?
I was working for Life Care Center at the time when I discovered a advertisement for a job announcement through Panhandle Health for this position. And I felt that I would be a very good fit to be the project director, the volunteer services coordinator, for recruiting and retaining training volunteers, as well as ministering to the number of clients that we have. And so I was very excited about the opportunity to apply for the position, very thankful that I successfully had the job offer, and as I said, been there now for 4 years serving.
Wow, well, it was meant to be. You're
I think
definitely
so.
The right person.
In my lingo, I would say it was providential.
Yes.
That it was a great fit. I found my niche, as it were, something I love to do.
Wow. That's truly a blessing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the mission of the Senior Companions Program is to provide meaningful opportunities for persons over 55 years of age. Can you tell us more about that mission?
The mission primarily of the Senior Companions Program is to assist elderly people who are homebound without transportation to remain independent in their homes for as long as possible. We like to think of ourselves as coming alongside our senior community who sometimes can be overlooked.
Yeah.
And our goal and mission is to have compassion toward them and make a difference in their lives toward independence.
Oh, that's so important.
It is.
Yeah, being homebound is so hard, and especially during the winter, I can say.
Very much so.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think that weekly visit, that connection that we make to build a friendship, a rapport with our clients, really does help them if they're having physical limitations or emotional limitations.
Yeah.
We come alongside and help kind of boost that, sort of give them a vaccine of sorts, of an immunization. We're talking a lot about vaccines these days.
Yeah.
Well, this is, in terms of getting a shot in the arm of encouragement as a volunteer comes and visits and spend times with clients who are lonely or depressed.
Yes, I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I was so thankful that they checked on me."
Yes.
That's
And sometimes that's, all it is. It's a friendly visit to check on them, make sure they're okay. But there's so many other facets to what the volunteers are doing to provide this friendly visit on a weekly basis.
Yes. I've met a lot of your volunteers so far, and I can truly say they love what they do.
They do.
That's so important.
They do. They
Yeah.
have a heart for it.
Yes.
That's one of the check boxes on the initial interview.
Yeah.
Make sure they have a heart.
And you can tell.
And I can tell for volunteerism and helping people, sure.
Well, what are some of the benefits of being a senior companion volunteer?
Well, that's multifaceted too. Primarily, I suppose, maybe what the first thing a volunteer would say is they receive a monthly stipend. They're not employees. It's not a wage that they're earning. This is not a job. This is strictly volunteerism. But the grant that we receive provides the volunteer with a stipend, which is a reimbursement both for their time and for their mileage. So depending on the number of clients that they're seeing, depending on the number of miles they're driving per month, they'll receive a tax-free, non-reportable stipend through the grant that goes directly into their checking or savings account. I have some volunteers, based upon the number of hours they're serving, that receive $200 a month in supplemental income. And I have a number of volunteers that receive $600, $700 a month of supplemental income. And when you times that by 12, we're talking about a shot in the arm, an inoculation. That kind of financial shot in the arm for our seniors really helps them because they're all on fixed income, Social Security, and it really helps them too. So it's really targeted toward two groups: senior clients who need some assistance in their home, and senior volunteers who are still active and able to engage the community and still drive. And for that, they get the benefit of the stipend. But they receive free training on any number of topics. We have monthly meetings, and then we have an annual recognition dinner and event that they come to and receive their awards for service and a Volunteer of the Year, Station of the Year. We have Safe Driver Awards. We have a great time at that annual recognition event with our volunteers.
Wow, what an important thing to do.
Yes, they need recognition.
Yes.
And oftentimes it does have to come in the form of some material good or something of that nature, but just to have the accolade and just to say thank you for a job well done. I have a little saying: a smile and a few kind words and a handshake go a long way.
Definitely. Okay, so your volunteers are matched with homebound community members that need support to remain independent. What are some of the things the volunteers do to support the seniors they're matched with?
A typical visit may look like this: just coming into the home to socialize with, which is kind of the primary goal of the program, socialization, that friendly visit. And that can look like playing a board game, cards, crafting together, reading something together, watching a program together, going to lunch, going for a drive, going for a walk, weather permitting, going to the movies, going shopping, anything that you might think you would normally do with a good friend or a companion. That's what they do. And in addition to that, it would be transporting the client to their medical appointments and grocery shopping as needed. So, but even little things like organizing something for a client. They can't reach something in the top shelf of the closet or the cupboard. That's what we do. Just assist them in small ways. We're not home health care.
Right.
Volunteers aren't qualified to do that. And it's not house cleaning as such, so they're not permitted to do that either. But these little things that help and go a long way, just from a weekly visit, maybe once or twice a week, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours each visit.
Oh, that can make a big difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Our seniors having something to look forward to is really an important aspect of their daily life. If a senior's getting up every day and they're doing the same routine with nothing to look forward to, even a phone call. Who doesn't like to receive mail? Go out to the mailbox and you find that Christmas card there as an example. Everybody likes that. But to know that you have someone coming and visiting you on a specific day, at a specific time, and they're going to be there for a few hours just to visit, and maybe you'll go shopping and just maybe talk or play a board game. Seniors look forward to that type of thing, and they need that type of thing.
Yeah. So, what about if they notice the senior they're caring for isn't doing well?
Well, that's part of the responsibility and the training aspect of our volunteers, to understand that they're not merely going in for a friendly visit. They're going in there to observe and to report. Observe what's going on with the client physically, cognitively, so how is the house being maintained, and then report that to me or to their volunteer lead so that we can escalate that to other agencies if the need exists. It's possible for a client to become outside our capacity for physical reasons or mental issues. Dementia comes to mind. In Alzheimer's, we do assist, but they're on-set cases that we do respite for. But part of the volunteer's responsibility is when they're in the home and they're with the client is to make those observations, kind of like mentally, and then report back to the volunteer lead of their station or contact me so that we can refer that client if necessary.
Wow, that I did not know that, and that is, wow, what a great service.
Well, and it's critical because some of our clients are starting out. They may have onset dementia or memory loss, Alzheimer's. Some have some medical issues, memory loss, physical limitations. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that manifests itself when you walk in the house and you can see now we have a safety concern or a sanitary concern perhaps because they're not maintaining their home as they should. Yeah. Maybe they're beginning to hoard things. Maybe there's trip hazards in the house that we need to address. Well, that's part of what our program does too.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, great to know. Your program has been providing service opportunities by and for seniors across the United States for over 40 years. How and when did the Panhandle Health District start sponsoring this program?
Panhandle Health became a sponsor in 1987, but AmeriCorps used to be called Senior Companions. We're now AmeriCorps Seniors. Okay. The Corporation for National and Community Service goes back to JFK, the President Kennedy, when he inaugurated these programs, some of which are still in existence. And everyone is pretty much familiar with AmeriCorps, mm-hmm. where now we come under the umbrella of AmeriCorps as AmeriCorps Seniors. So the program has been in existence for decades. We've been fortunate to have Panhandle Health District as one of our sponsors, tremendous backers and supporters of the Senior Companions program. The Board of Health and our executive director and management are solidly behind the Senior Companions program and have been since 1987.
What a great benefit for this rural community that we have in these counties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Idaho, North Idaho is rather unique because it is sparse and rural, and we service all 5 counties of the Panhandle, from Benoit to Shoshone, Kootenai, Bonner, and Boundary counties. And each county has its own little intricacies, and mm-hmm. The demographics can change a little bit here and there. But we're servicing all 5 counties, have about 150 clients in the Panhandle, and currently have about 50 volunteers.
Wow. What a wonderful thing. I never thought about that, how needed it is up here and how great it is that we have the program.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're only scratching the surface, Jackie, with this program. I'm convinced there are hundreds upon hundreds of seniors mm-hmm. That are isolated, that are struggling with physical or emotional limitations, very limited resources. A lot of them don't know where to turn, where to go, and sadly and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, there's no family. Mm-hmm. They are by themselves, and they're trying to manage alone. And there are a lot of resources out there, Senior Companions just being one of many, that can help so many of our senior citizens. This population or demographic is only going to expand enormously in the coming years as we mm-hmm. baby boomers ourselves begin to age and struggle with our own ailments. Yeah. And so the program is going to be needed for a very long time. If we could only reach those people, say, that are outside of Bonner's Ferry, up toward the Canadian border, down in St. Mary's and Fernan and some other places, Santa, down in Benoit County, some of the mountainous areas of Shoshone County that we are not in currently. There are people there, and we want to try to reach those clients to help them.
Do you have any thoughts about that? Any thoughts that are goals in 2022 for getting the word out to some of those areas that are hard to reach? Because a lot of times the only people that go out there maybe is the mailman. Or
This is very true.
You know?
This is very true. And getting the word out is one of the primary goals that we have in the coming year for sure. This podcast in particular is being very helpful to our program to get word out to your audience that may know someone who's in need or may know someone who'd like to volunteer in our program. The more volunteers we have, especially from these rural areas, the greater expansion our program can have in meeting the needs of clients that live in these areas. It's about networking. It's about collaborating. It's about connecting with senior centers, food banks, meal sites, social workers, Bonners General, some of the hospitals, Kootenai Health,
Connexcu,
which we have those relationships ongoing.
Great.
But we have to expand those into some of the areas that don't have even those kinds of services.
So you try to match the senior volunteer to the area they live in. So if they're living in Laclede or Priest River, you try to find clients, or vice versa. If you have clients in that area, you hopefully can find a volunteer so their driving distance is less. Is that kind of your goal?
Ideally.
Hard to do.
Not always that way.
Yeah.
I only have, as an example, one volunteer in Priest River, Priest Lake right now. And I have several clients in there. So we have to sometimes have people come over from maybe Sagal or Sandpoint, Ponderay to travel. But they will, and their travel's reimbursed. So we would like to have more volunteers in the Priest Lake area, as an example.
Yeah.
And that's just a job of marketing and recruiting and trying to get the word out and work with a number of other agencies like yours in getting the word out about the need for volunteers and the need for clients. We recruit both.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Partnering with Panhandle Health District and their home health services allows you to reach and educate more individuals and families in North Idaho. How does that benefit the seniors in our area? I think we just kind of talked about that, didn't we?
A little bit. We touched on it. Home health is a big part of what the Panhandle Health District does in sending in our employees and those with skills in home health, our LPNs and CNAs and stuff, to go in and minister to those kind of clients. But still, sometimes that's not enough because they're going to eventually leave and maybe not come back until the next week. Well, then they can refer the client to me, and we can have a senior companion go in, a volunteer go in, and take up the slack in between those visits. So home health is a big part of what we do. It's not part of what senior companions do because our volunteers, they just don't have the training or the capacity for that. So we let these other agencies like home health and other agencies do what they do, and we come in and make up maybe where they can't and vice versa.
Good partnership then.
Yes, very much so.
So what areas do you serve? I think you just said it again, but if you would say that again.
Absolutely. Benoit County, St. Mary's, Tensed, Plummer. Worley is in Kootenai, but it's right on the border of Benoit County, so our volunteers in Benoit would help clients who live in Worley. Shoshone County, Wallace, Kellogg, Pinehurst, Silverton, those primary cities. Kootenai, of course, is our largest station with the most clients and the most volunteers. So that's taking you all the way from Worley, or the southern portion of Kootenai County, all the way up to Bayview and Athol, Spirit Lake, and surfacing a large area there. For Bonner, it's, of course, Sandpoint, primarily Sagal, Ponderay, and Priest River, Priest Lake. And then Boundary County, where we have Bonner's Ferry, primarily.
And up to the Canadian border.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Besides the Panhandle Health District, are there any other organizations you're associated with?
Collaborate with a number of organizations. The first one that comes to my mind is the Area Agency on Aging. And we have a close connection with them. They're a great resource, great referrals coming to and from the Area Agency on Aging, the Alzheimer's Organization, veterans groups, the VA. We collaborate with them quite a bit. Many of the social workers in the various hospitals, we collaborate with them, from the Coeur d'Alene Tribe to, I mentioned Bonner's General here earlier, and what used to be the Sandpoint Resource Community Center, which is now the EnVision Center. And we've collaborated with you guys. Very thankful for that relationship.
Awesome. So what has been the impact of the Senior Companions Program in North Idaho?
It's grown. I think by the sheer numbers that we've grown in the last several years in particular, shows that it's having a greater impact because more and more people are becoming aware of the Senior Companions Program. I think some years ago we might have been the best kept secret in North Idaho when it comes to senior resources. A lot of people did not know about the program. We're seeing that change now. And as a result, we're seeing growth in our volunteer numbers and growth in our clients. So just through the growth of it, we can tell that we're having an impact. We do an annual survey every year of both volunteers and clients. And I can say that we're receiving 4.5, 4.7 stars from both groups on how it's meeting the needs and how the program is performing for both clients and volunteers.
That's wonderful. Those are
awesome.
good ratings.
Yeah, I don't use stars, frankly. I use smiley faces.
Gosh.
The 1 is like a frown, and then the 5 is a big smiley face. So it's not stars, it's 4.7 smiley faces that the program's receiving from our clients and volunteers.
That's awesome.
Very rewarding.
What are the qualifications and the process for a senior to become a volunteer or for a senior needing assistance?
Well, let's talk about volunteers first. They have to be 55 years or older with reliable transportation. They have to pass a criminal history background check and a sex offender check. They have to go through 20 hours of pre-service training, 6 hours of orientation is done in Hayden. There's a lot of reading that they must do on memory loss and dementia and aging. We require some of that. And they shadow with another volunteer for a minimum of 4 hours. That's in preparation to become a volunteer. There's an income eligibility requirement to receive the stipend. So they can only make so much money. But all of my volunteers are fixed income, Social Security, maybe a Social Security disability, a small pension that they have. But it's a fixed income that they're confined to, and that we then come along and provide that stipend as supplemental income that's non-taxable, as I said earlier. For clients, there's only 3 things they have to present. One of 3 things: a physical, mental, or emotional limitation. That's very broad. A client could say, well, I use a walker or a cane. That would qualify as their physical limitation. They could say, I'm just simply lonely or I'm depressed. That would qualify as the emotional. So it's not, it's very broad to become a client. There are no financial requirements. We don't charge clients anything, and we don't look at their income. For a client, they could still live at home. They could even still live with family and still yet be lonely and needing our services. And so we will accept them as clients as well. So not a lot of criteria to qualify as a client.
Well, good to know.
More qualifications to become a volunteer, because you're going to be dealing with a vulnerable population. And we want to make sure that you're the kind of person not only that has the heart for volunteerism and heart for people, but there's no criminal background that would hinder that.
Yeah, important to protect our seniors.
Absolutely.
What's next for you in the Senior Companion Program?
That's a great question, Jackie. What's next? You never know what's next.
That's true.
I believe it was Forrest Gump who said something about a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get.
That's true.
That could be true said of the Senior Companions Program. I don't know what's next. Volunteerism is unique, that people come and people go.
Yeah.
Clients will come and clients will go. in my mind as the project director, what's next for the Senior Companion Program would be that continued expansion. The recruitment, the retention of volunteers, qualified volunteers who have that heart, that passion for our senior community, and to expand our clientele. As I said earlier, we know that we're just scratching the surface. We have 150 clients, and I'm quite certain that there are hundreds more out there that really need help. We can't service them or help them, minister to them, unless we have qualified volunteers to do so. So there's always that double-edged sword going on.
Right.
It does me no good to have a lot of volunteers who are qualified and willing and not have enough clientele.
Yeah.
Or on the other hand, have so many clients on the wait list, but I don't have enough volunteers to take care of their needs.
Yeah.
So you deal with that all the time.
Right. That balance.
But I see a bright, if I can think more positively about the what's next question, I see a bright future for the Senior Companions Program.
I agree with you.
I see the Panhandle Health District continuing to support this program and be fully behind what we're trying to do in ministering to our senior citizens within the Panhandle District.
Yeah, it's so important to help seniors stay in their home, and I see this as a big stake in that, having this program alongside of home health really helps that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
This issue is not going to shrink. It's going to get larger.
That's
much,
right.
Much larger in the years to come.
We'll be there someday, right?
And it's quite possible. I won't say that of you, be kind, but I may need a companion. And I've thought, and maybe I'll be a volunteer one day.
Yeah. Well, you're a great program project director, so
thank you,
I think
Jackie.
they want you to stay in that position for a while.
I intend on staying in for as long as I can.
And good for you. So how does somebody contact you if they want to become either a volunteer or they know someone that would need your services as a client? How do they go about contacting you?
We have a dedicated website separate from Panhandle Health District's website. That website is seniorcompanionsidaho.org. I'll say that again. seniorcompanionsidaho.org. Probably the best way is just call me directly at 208-415-5177. On the website, you'll find there's a resource tab there. There's an application form. There's a client referral form on there as well. My email is on the website, as well as my phone number. All the contact information is there, and I would love to talk to your audience about volunteering as a senior companion or having them as a client that needs someone to come in and support them in their homes.
Great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add to our questions today or things we talked about?
Nothing to add to the questions, but I'd like to wish you and everyone a very blessed Christmas and a New Year that's filled with joy and peace.
And to you too, Daniel.
Thanks,
thank you so much again for driving up here from Hayden Lake in this weather and for being our guest. It was a great privilege to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to CRECidaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We will see you again soon.